Goodbye to YouTube, and yeah guys, as you can see, this is going to be that lengthy Ubers battle that y'all wanted to watch. Now, I'm going to be breaking my opponent's team down, and I'm going to tell you what I thought they were all going to be doing going into this battle. So first thing that I saw was that he did have the Fortress, which automatically tells me he's going to be abusing entry hazards, which also reveals to me that his RCS is more than likely going to be the Ghost variant. So I'm going to have to watch out for that, which is why I'm going to be leading off with my own Fortress. That way I can just start getting out my Toxic Spikes as soon as possible, not worrying about them being spun away, seeing as I do have a Giratina of my own. Zekrom, if he is Choice Banded, is going to prove to be a bit of an issue, but if I can get my entry hazards, I can hopefully prevent it from switching in and out. But if he turns out to be Choice Scarfed, my Gliscor, I'm pretty positive it will be able to deal with it, taking a hit from it and just hit it with an Earthquake or Substitute and roost up on it accordingly. Lugia, if he is not running a Sub-Calm Mind variant or a Sub-Dragon Tail variant, really isn't going to be proving to be any trouble at all. Kyogre is not a threat whatsoever. Yes, he does set up the rain, but because my Abomasnow resists Hydro Pump, resists the Thunder, and takes neutral from Ice Beam, and I do carry the Wood Hammer, I'm fairly positive I will easily be able to end up winning the Weather War. Then finally off, the biggest threat on his team is going to be the Mewtwo, just because Side Strike, Aura Sphere, and Ice Beam basically hits my entire team, and Mewtwo is just a giant threat in general, so I'm going to have to get on my entry hazards, start wearing it down with the Life Orb recoil and the hail damage. So yeah, with that guys, let's get right into the battle and let's see how it turned out. So I'm just going to be leading off with my Fortress because I want to get up my Toxic Spikes as soon as possible, as he's going to be leading off with this Kyogre, which was something I really wasn't expecting. I mean, I have Abomasnow, and Abomasnow being max special defense and max HP deals with any variant of Kyogre unless for some reason they're running Hidden Power Fighting, which no one in their right mind would ever do. So he turns out to have the Thunder Wave, so I guess he did predict me to bring in the Abomasnow, and he went for that. I mean, it's still first turn of the game, man. Calm down. So knowing that he's going to be fearing the Grass move, I'm actually going to go for the Lead Seed, and because the Kyogre is bulky, I don't even know if a Wood Hammer will be able to one-hit KO him at full HP just because I'm not running any attack investments. So I do go for the Lead Seed as he brings in the Fortress, which in my opinion was a very bad switch in. I mean, now that I'm going to be able to whittle down this Fortress means that it's not going to be as big of an issue as it should be. I mean, if he loses his Fortress, it really benefits me because he loses his Pokemon that sets up entry hazards and he loses his Pokemon that rapid spins. So yeah, not too sure why he did that. Now, as you saw there, I actually went for Spikes as opposed to Toxic Spikes because I ended up misclicking because I wasn't paying attention. And that was completely stupid of me because now instead of this Kyogre being poisoned, he's only going to be at less amount of HP that he can easily just get back with the leftovers. So yeah, word of advice guys, pay attention to what move you're going to click. So I'm just going to switch directly into my Abomasnow to take the hit, but he actually ends up missing, or maybe he went for the Thunder Wave, but in the long run of the battle that really doesn't end up playing a role whatsoever. So knowing that he's not going to want to lose the Weather War because it's still early on in the battle, because if he allows me to keep my Hell up, that means my Kyurem will have 100 accuracy Blizzards. I'm going to go for the Elite Seed as he ends up going for the Wrap Spin, which was something I was predicting, but I also thought he might just want to get up his Stealth Rocks or get up another layer of Spikes or Toxic Spikes. So switching out into my Fortress was the safest play I could have done in that situation, as I'm just going to go for my own Rapid Spin and he's going to Volt Switch. And I found it a bit odd that he didn't switch out into his Arceus, and this is why, because he turns out to have Arceus Grass and not Arceus Ghost. So yeah, I'm just going to rapidly speed this part up because it's really nothing going on. The only thing that benefited from these series of moves was the fact that I was able to burn the Arceus, which in the long run of the battle really doesn't play a role whatsoever, and he gets a crit with the Judgment, which doesn't matter. So I roar him back out into the Kyogre, now not wanting to take an Ice Beam to the face, because I am a physically defensive Giratina as opposed to a specially defensive Giratina. I am going to switch into my Abomasnow, and here is where the battle really starts going downhill for me, because that was so obvious, and he predicts that it brings in the Mewtwo. Now, look on his side of the field. He has no entry hazards up, which means this is going to get ugly very quickly. So I'm going to switch it to my Blissey just basically as Death Fodder, as he ends up pulling a crit with the Aura Sphere. Now, before any of you say, oh, that didn't matter, he would have killed you off with the Side Strike the Fallen turn, that actually did somewhat matter because I did run a calc, and Blissey does have a chance to live a combination of Aura Sphere and Side Strike coming from Mewtwo, which means if I had lived a Side Strike, barring that he didn't crit me, I would have been able to get the Thunder Wave off on this Mewtwo, completely crippling it, which means it would no longer be a threat. Unfortunately, that is not the case, and I do lose my Blissey as I'm going to switch into my Kyurem, and I'm going to go for the Blizzard for some stupid reason. I don't know why. I should have gone for the Dragon Pulse, and I'm going to pay for it because he's going to predict me to switch back into my Abomasnow and is going to bring back in the Mewtwo. But because I do have the Hail up, I know I will be able to start whittling him down a bit more. So at this point in the battle, I really have to get my head into the game, and I have to start predicting, or else I'm going to get screwed and lose. So I'm going to switch into my Giratina to take the Aura Sphere, which he did go for. As the following turn, I'm going to switch into my Kyurem to take the Ice Beam. Now, yes, I could have switched into my Abomasnow as well to take the Ice Beam, but I knew switching into my Kyurem would give me more momentum as opposed to switching into my Abomasnow and having him go for a Side Strike the following turn and just possibly KO any one of my members. So switching into Kyurem was the smartest thing I could have done in that situation, as I'm going to lock myself into the Dragon Pulse. And thanks to White Kyurem's base 170 special attack into the Hail, this Fortress will easily be to a KO'd at the amount of HP that it was at. So now that he loses his spinner, that means if I can get a free switch out into my Fortress, I will be able to get up my Toxic Spikes, which means I can Toxic this Kyogre, giving me a better chance to win the Weather War. So not wanting to take a Hydro Pump, I'm going to switch into my Abomasnow because I do qual resist that. Now, this also could have been risky, seeing as he could have predicted that and switched back into the Mewtwo, but because it is running on very low amount of HP, I know he's going to want to save it, so switching out to my Abomasnow was a pretty smart play, if you ask me. So, this turn, I know he's going to bring in the Arceus, obviously fearing the fact that I can go for Leech Seed or go for the Wood Hammer, so I'm actually going to go for the Blizzard. Now, thinking that he just wants to leave it in for Death Fodder and it proves no purpose to his team anymore, I'm just going to go for Protect, allowing him to die off to the Burn and the Hail, but no, he ends up going for the Recover, as I'm going to predict him to switch into the Kyogre to take the Blizzard, and I'm going to go for the Wood Hammer. So yeah, if he's just going to keep staying in, I don't want to drag this out longer than it has to be, so I'm going to switch into my Giratina just so I can go for the Roar, hoping that he doesn't go for the Magikarp, which luckily for me he's not going to go for, and he actually ends up going for the Earth Power. I mean, I guess Earth Power is viable in Ubers, but I don't know why you would run it on Arceus above other things. So unfortunately for me, I'm going to roar him out to Black Kyurem. Now, I haven't seen it throughout this whole battle, so I don't know if he's banded, I don't know if he's scarfed, and I'm going to switch out to my Fortress just to basically take an outrage, but he ends up going for the Earth Power. Okay, Earth Power on one Pokemon is fine, but on two, that's just a bit odd if you ask me. But whatever, I'm just going to stay in and I'm going to get up a layer of Toxic Spikes, and because he did lower my special defense, I will not be able to take another one, so at this point, because my Fortress did get up one layer, I'm just going to save it for Death Fodder for later on in this battle, as I'm going to bring in my Gliscor, and because he keeps going for the Earth Power, I know he's more than likely going to be Choice Scarfed as opposed to Specs or Banded, or maybe even Expert Belted, so I'm just going to stay and go for the Earthquake because he switched out into Arceus is very obvious because my Gliscor can't do anything to him. Now, knowing that he's more than likely just going to go for the Judgment, seeing as he's going to be faster than me, I'm going to switch into my Kyurem just to take it, and because I am Dragon, I do resist it, so that means the following turn, I can either go for the Dragon Pulse or go for the Blizzard. Now, for some reason, I thought that the Dragon Pulse wouldn't be able to finish him off, so I decided to go for the Blizzard, which was completely idiotic of me to think, seeing as White Kyurem has a base 170 special attack. So now this means he can get a free switch out into either his Kyogre or into his Kyurem, and he does decide to bring in the Kyurem, which means now I'm going to have to father something off, which is going to be my Fortress. And you know what? Fortress has done its job. It got up the Toxic Spikes and it Rapid Spin away his entry hazards, and that's all I wanted from it. So now, since he's locked into the Outrage, I'm actually going to switch into my Gliscor because I am max defense, max HP, and because obviously he was mixed, he's more than likely not going to be running max attack, so I can freely just send it in and just start risking up and letting the Toxic start racking up on it. And this is where it mattered about him getting the special defense drop, because I would have been able to get up 2 layers of Toxic Spike as opposed to 1, just speeding up this process a whole lot easier. So luckily for me, he ends up getting the 2-turn outrage, which means the following turn I will be able to substitute up on the switch out, or if he does decide to stay in, he'll hopefully hit himself in confusion, allowing me to get behind a substitute either way. He actually ends up switching out into Lugia. Now the way he brought it in has me thinking that maybe he's going to go for the Roar or the Whirlwind, so I'm just going to go straight for the Toxic because there's really no purpose for me not to, and it completely escaped my mind about the fact that he could be carrying Substitute. Luckily, it seems like he isn't, and he's just going to bring back in his Kyurem, and he's going to lock himself into the Ice Beam. I don't know. I don't know. If you ask me, I find it a bit odd that you were running a mixed Kyurem, but oh well, to each their own. So I'm just going to sub up, and here is where I make a very, very crucial error. I go for Earthquake because now he gets a free switch into Mewtwo, which means something on my team has to die, and at this point the most expandable thing on my team is my Giratina. So I'm going to switch him in basically for Death Fodder, as he does go for the Ice Beam, and I was so close to actually bringing in my Abomasnow, but I didn't want him to go for the Side Strike, and damn it. See, never second guess yourself. So now I'm going to bring in my Abomasnow, and I'm going to make a very risky play, and I'm going to go for the Protect. But he actually ends up switching out into the Kyogre, and if he had stayed in and I had got paralyzed, then I basically would have lost the Weather War. But now, because he switched out the Mewtwo, it's at such low amount of HP to where if he does want to switch it in, it's basically dead. So the only way he has any purpose for it is going to be to get a free switch out into it, and I'm not about to allow him to do that. I'm going to go for the Leech Seed because I thought he would bring in the Lugia just to take the Wood Hammer, but no, he does decide to stay in, which means the following turn, because he's switching to Lugia is very obvious, I'm going to go for the Leech Seed again. Unfortunately, I do get paralyzed. Now, this really would have mattered if he had been a sub-Calm Mind variant, because this turn he could have substituted up and started Calm Minding up. But because he is running Ice Beam, and no variant of offensive Lugia carries Ice Beam, at least that I know of. The only variant that do carry Ice Beam are those that are more of a bulky spread. So maybe he's running Toxic, Ice Beam, Roost, and Roar. So I get the Leech Seed off, and I'm going to switch into my Kyurem now because I do take neutral from Ice Beam. I know I will easily be able to live this. Above that, Lugia do have massive HP, so it only did about 20 points of damage, I believe, because I was at 151, now I'm at 131. And I'm going to switch back out into my Abomasnow just to get my health back up, as he's going to switch into the Kyogre. Not entirely too sure why, and unfortunately because he came in second, that means he's going to get his Drizzle up, preventing me to get my health up. So I really need to get rid of this Kyogre, and I know because of the way I've been playing around it that now he's going to predict me to go for the Leech Seed and he's going to stay in. So you know what's about to happen. I'm about to catch this Kyogre with a Wood Hammer right to the face, and that's going to be an easy OHKO. And oh my god, I was so happy when I hit that Wood Hammer and finished off that Kyogre, because now my plan to winning this battle is starting to fall into place, and it all starts with me getting off a Leech Seed on this Lugia, which is what I'm going to try to do. I'm hoping I don't get paralyzed, and luckily for me I don't, which means step 1, get the Leech Seed off, has happened. Sorry, I'm so excited right now. This battle is so much fun. Sorry. Okay, so get the Leech Seed off, and now I'm going to switch back out to my Kyurem, and because I only took 20 points of damage the following turn, I know I can take another one. And here, if he actually had got a crit, then he basically would have just won the battle right there. Luckily, that is not the case. I'm able to live that, and I'm going to get to switch back out into my Abomasnow. So step 2, get the weather up, is going accordingly. Now, all I have to do is try to get some damage on this Lugia so I can bring him down to a point where he's not going to be in multi-skill range, allowing my Kyurem to be able to finish him off. Which is why I'm actually going to stay in, and I'm going to go for the Blizzard as opposed to going for a Leech Seed, or maybe switching out directly into my Kyurem. And luckily, after that Blizzard, I'm able to knock him down to where the Roost, the Fallen turn, is not going to be able to bring him up to multi-skill range. And even if it did, I still have the Leech Seed off, which means he would be around 95%, still allowing my Kyurem to easily come in and finish him off with a Blizzard. And that's going to be the very narrow 3-0 victory in my favor. This battle was extremely fun, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. Now, I know the narration was a little bit shorter than I thought it would. I believe the video is only going to be around 13 minutes, but hopefully you guys did enjoy it nonetheless. If you did, please make sure to leave a like, make sure to comment, and if you want to see some more content from me, guys, make sure to subscribe. So with that, I'm going to just let Tony finish it off with one final Blizzard on this Mewtwo, and I do believe I am out of here, guys. Haha, later.